Everybody was kung fu fighting. Hey, wait a minute. You're not Michael. Hey, everybody. We're going to have a great show today because we are talking about the movie Love Hurt with our all favorite character, Mr. Short Round. I'm just kidding, but that actor who played Short Round is older now. But it's going to be a great show here today on Two Geeks and a Microphone.
Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
All right. I will talk first, everybody. Welcome to the show, Two Geeks and a Microphone. I am your co-host, Mr. Steven Boster, along with the one, the only, the most definitely not Michael, Miss Megan Shanks. Megan, say hey to everybody.
Hello.
So everybody, Mike is under the weather today. And I have been under the weather for the last week, so I guess it's his turn now. So,
he's been
anyways,
the whole week too.
Has he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stuff's going around, and I'm all the way up here in Montana. You guys are in Illinois, so I can't blame it on me. Just saying. Well, Megan, it's great to have you here with us as we are talking about today. We're going to talk about the movie Love Hurt. And you know what? I don't even think I can say the actor's name correctly. So please forgive me. It's Ke Huy Quan, I believe is the way to say it, but I most definitely could be wrong. But I'm pretty excited about talking about this. It was our quote unquote Valentine's movie. We thought it would be kind of fun to do and discuss. So Megan and I are going to chit chat and talk about it today. So pretty pumped about that. So Megan, now we've got you on the screen. Normally you're behind the screen or, no one sees you and stuff, but I am glad that you were here. I'm going to do a real quick shout out to everybody saying, welcome to the show. Let everybody know that we are here and things are happening. Well, with that, everybody knows kind of our format. If you're joining us for the first time, that a lot of times, well, one, thank you for being with us. Great to have you here with us. We like to kind of talk about a couple of things, kind of what's in the geeky news. We talk about if we have any geeky news, and I don't have any geeky news. Mike is usually really one who's on top of a lot of geeky news. Just saying, he's great at that. And then we talk about Geekdar. What's as our great friends at Three Geeky Dads will say, what's got your geek flag flying, kind of a thing. So we do Geekdar, and then we go into the main event where we just talk about the main topic and stuff like that. So, if he's been sick all week, I wonder how much stuff Mike has seen. So we should have a lot of stuff Mike's going to talk about next week on the show. So actually, we've got a great special guest for next week. So I'm pretty excited about that. So don't tell anybody. No, I'm just kidding. So, it's going to be a lot of fun next week too, as well. We have a repeat guest with us. And real quick, I'm going to verify I got my dates right for that because we have, get my schedule up so I can tell everybody what's coming up. We've got the one and only, let's see, John Jackson Miller, who we are going to be doing, technically it's going to be Sunday. So Saturday, we are talking about Reacher Season 3 opener. I love myself some Reacher. Love that show. And so I enjoyed the movies with Tom Cruise. But I really like the Amazon Prime show. So I'm pretty much, so I think they're releasing two or three episodes, and we're going to watch those and we're going to talk about that on Saturday. But on Sunday, we are actually having a special episode because we are interviewing John Jackson Miller. So those who may know, John Jackson Miller is an author who's written a whole bunch of stuff, all kinds of different books. And we are actually going to be covering Batman Resurrection. And so I'm pretty excited about that. So Mike is, especially because there's the book. Yes. So that is specifically kind of takes place between Batman, the 1989 Batman movie with Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton. And then as it moves into Batman 2. So in between those. So there's some neat stuff. I'm very intrigued to get Mike's viewpoint on that. So anyway, so that's what we're talking about next week. We're going to have an action-packed, jam-packed weekend next weekend. So I hope you can join us for both of those episodes. And so that is kind of what's on the calendar. So are we ready to, we don't have any geeky news. Do you ready to do some geekdar?
Yep.
Go with the radar, sir.
What's wrong with it?
I've lost the bleeps. I've lost the sweeps. The bleeps. The sweeps. And the creeps.
That's not all he's lost.
I've always enjoyed that. So, everybody, I'm going to share for Geekdar. I've been hooked on a show that I have had friends tell me, Steven, you need to watch this show. A lot of people know I'm into communication and connecting people and stuff. And they said, oh, Steven, you would like this show. And so I actually have been watching, there's our calendar, everybody. Yes, use Notion. The Mentalist. It's a show that started in 2008, went on for 7 seasons. And yes, I'm behind the 8 ball on this one. So behind and watching it. And so it is really good. It's this guy, his character, who his name is Patrick Jane, played by Simon Baker. And in that, it starts off, he plays a mentalist, but somebody who kind of takes advantage of people. And then he talks poorly about the serial killer that's out there. Well, that serial killer goes after his family and kills his family. Mm-hmm. And so then it's kind of like redemption. He's working for the California Bureau of Investigation. And so that storyline with the serial killer is kind of sprinkled in here and there through the series, but he's there to help the Bureau kind of solve crimes and stuff like that. So it's I don't want to say it's a police procedural kind of thing.
Like Criminal Minds.
Kind of, yeah. And so it's actually not too bad. I've pretty much enjoyed it. Hey, Angie. So real quick, Angie's here in the house. She says, "Hey, gang. Hello, Angie. Welcome to the show. Good to have you here with us." And all here, we'll put it back up there so then we can see. There's it. Yay! Everybody can see it better. Angie's here with us. And then, so Angie, make sure you give us a shout out for what you got going on. Everybody, Angie's with Geek Girls Gaming and stuff. And then she's got some, she's going to have some more time to do some more stuff. So if you enjoyed her content, and I'll just let us know what's going on. Yeah, she says you're missing someone. That is correct. Mike is under the weather. He is not feeling well. And so it is really, it's Megan's here. I mean, come on. She's the one who's really behind the scenes, makes things happen. So she's here with us today and all. So, all right. Well, Megan, did you have anything you wanted to chit chat about?
I do not.
On your Geekdar? Do what?
No.
Oh, real quick. Geek Girls Gaming. We are playing some games later today and then watching Never Ending Story after that. Right on. And so I will open with you. I love the Never Ending Story, but I have PTSD from when, what was the horse's name?
I have no idea. I've never seen
Artax. You've never seen Never Ending Story. That's surprising. Okay, I won't say anything else. I don't want to spoil it for you and all. Don't want to spoil it for you. Angie said real quick, yes, she is our Tito. Yes, that's a reference, you guys, to three geeky dads. They have Tito. He's kind of the fourth dad, really, who helps get things rolling and running. So, all right, well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and shoot for the main event, shall we? It's time for the main. Ta-da! All right, everybody. We are talking about Love Hurts. So we're going to kind of give our real quick overview about the movie Love Hurts. And then we are then going to move into kind of giving our review, non-spoiler review. And then we'll get into the spoilerific territory and then talk about just have fun with the show on it. There you go, Angie. KHQ, woot woot, yes. So yeah, we'll talk about him in a minute. So, all right. Well, let's see. Let me see if we can get a nice little synopsis. I'm going to cheat and see if we can get a synopsis of the film, and I can just read it. I will say, when we watched it last night, I did look up to see if there was a in credit scene. Marvel has ruined me for all kinds of movies now, because I'm always like, oh, is there going to be an in?
I mean, they're not the only ones that do it. There are other ones, especially
Right.
Disney's done it a bunch too. Granted, they're not like super important scenes, but I know that Disney definitely has put in little extras at the very end.
Yeah, but there wasn't one. So, all right. So here's the synopsis, everybody. Film synopsis. Marvin is a Milwaukee realtor who receives a crimson envelope from Rose, a former partner in crime who he left for dead. Dun, dun, dun. He now finds himself thrust back into a world of ruthless hitmen and double crosses that turn his open houses into deadly war zones. Hunted by his brother, a volatile crime lord, Marvin must confront the choices that haunt him and the history he never truly buried. That's not a bad synopsis on that. So again, I'm gonna mispronounce his name. Here we go. Ke Huy Quan. And if I'm probably mispronouncing it. He was Short Round. For those of us who loved the Indiana Jones movies and the Temple of Doom, and because those who remember Short Round was the little character that Indiana Jones had him, helping stuff, and kind of like a little local partner and stuff. And they had a great friendship in the movie, which I really loved and enjoyed. Thank you, Angie. Here it is. Ke Huy Quan. Ke Huy Quan. Thank you. But his name in the movie was Marvin. I love that his name is Marvin. It's so wholesome for Ke. So yeah. He came across as very, very wholesome individual. But the funny part about it was that he had this dark past behind him and stuff. Oh, sorry. That was supposed to read Ke Huy Quan. Ke Huy Quan. Okay. Interesting. Ke Huy Quan. Okay. All right. Anyone else want to correct me in my pronunciations? You are more than welcome to.
Not just
Say that again.
He's not just known from Indiana Jones, though. Because
what else is he known for?
In the Goonies.
Oh, good call. He was great in the Goonies.
It was important for a certain character.
Yeah. And he was also in, we saw him recently in Loki. He was in the Loki TV series. And then also he was in the movie, which I have not seen, which is Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I haven't seen it. He is supposed to be in the upcoming Zootopia 2. He was in the movie American Born Chinese, but I haven't seen. He was in Kung Fu Panda 4, but I'm not sure who he was. And then there's a movie called The Electric State that he is in, that's coming up. So he's been in some other movies, as well, but those are probably some big movies recently. And so this is his first starring role, I want to say. And so, so I want to say that's good, but yeah, Goonies. Oh my goodness, Goonies. Oh, and you know what? Wasn't, who else was in Goonies? Wasn't, oh, was he in Goonies? Yes, he was. He was Mikey. He was Mikey in Goonies. And so then they reunited for Sean Astin was in this one too, as well. I didn't catch that before. That's so, so anyway, all right. So let's talk about our review for the movie. And I will go first, and then, Megan, you're more than welcome to give me your thoughts, and then we'll give our score. Ooh, what should we do our score out of 10? We always pick something from the movie, everybody, to make it, our score is X out of 10. And we pick something in it.
I think it should be boba teas.
I love it. Boba teas. The villain drank boba teas throughout the whole movie. He had a boba tea in his hand, like almost the whole movie, but,
pretty much.
Boba teas. All right. I love it. That's great. We'll do the boba teas. All right. So speaking of boba teas, this was a fun film. It knew what it was. It was an action comedy, wasn't trying to be too serious. But at the same time, just have a fun story. I liked that it was fast paced. It did not waste any time in the beginning getting things going. I mean, it kind of set up, okay, he's a realtor. We got that. He's kind of a very innocent, fun, looking on the bright side of life kind of a guy. And, you like him a lot. And then then I'll say, then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, all of a sudden the fighting begins, kind of a thing in his office. And, so you're like, what just happened? Kind of a thing. So it did not waste any time. And I like that. It was fast paced. The action sequences, some of them were very Jackie Chan-esque type fight sequences, and I loved it. That style of where he's trying to, there's a fight that happens in one of the houses, and a lot of them happen in the houses, in his realtor houses, kind of a thing, which is hysterical. But there was one that actually was his home, and he was holding on to protecting he got the regional realtor of the year award, kind of a thing. And, he had worked really hard for it, and it meant a lot to him. And the movie talks about why, which is really good. And then, he's trying to protect it. So he's getting beat up, and he's at the same time trying to protect it where it wasn't getting damaged. And so that had that Jackie Chan-esque feel through it. The camera angles were really clever in how they did some of the fight sequences. It wasn't just shaky cam stuff. Mm-hmm. It was very much, and then you could see from the perspective of like, looking out of the microwave, and then looking like if you were inside the microwave looking out, kind of a thing. And also if you were in the refrigerator looking out, kind of a thing. It was really, it just had some fun fight sequences that were good. I will say that the huge fight sequence at the end was okay. It wasn't bad. I thought other fight sequences were better, actually. But it did kick up a notch on the violence level. So there was that type of thing. So, but overall, I give it a good solid 7 out of 10 boba teas, because it was a lot. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Wasn't a perfect movie, but for an action movie, I thought it was good. Would I watch it again? Yes, I would. I would watch it again. All right. Megan, what about you?
Really quick, I want to point out Angie's comment.
Oh, yeah. What'd she say?
She said, "Did you hear someone wants to start a petition to have him and the Black Gentleman play in a new version of Rush Hour?" Honestly, that would be interesting.
That was Chris Tucker, if I remember right. You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? That
I think she meant the guy who was playing the Raven in this.
Oh, he was good. I don't know. He was so serious in that. It's kind of like Abbott and Costello, or not Abbott and Costello, Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin, the straight man and the funny man, and so that would be interesting, even if they did a switch on that. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I don't know if they redid Rush Hour and brought him back for Rush Hour. Wouldn't that be something? And it'd be funny if they had Chris Tucker and if they had Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan even come back to pass it off, pass it on, pass the baton. That's the word. Interesting. Behind the scenes, he's a real jokester. I saw a making of Love Hurts, and he just seems such a genuine, nice guy and very appreciative that he has this opportunity, and really put a lot of work into this film. And it was it is a lot of fun. Is it worth seeing in the theater? Yes, I do believe it's worth seeing in the theater. All right, your turn, Megan.
I really liked it. I pretty much, sorry, microphone. Trying to fix it. I pretty much agree with you on everything, but there's also what the girl who played Ashley, who was Marvin's kind of assistant.
Leo Tipton is the actress.
I knew I recognized her face, and afterwards I looked it up on IMDb, and so I'm a huge fan of Markiplier, a YouTuber who has created his own kind of mini series like twice now. And so there's like 2 choose your own adventure things on YouTube. And she's actually a pretty main character in one of his projects, which is in space.
Oh, okay.
And so I knew I recognized her face, and that's what it's from. Because the whole time I was watching it, I was sitting there like, I know your face. Why do I know your face? And then I figured it out, and I was like, oh my gosh. But
she was also in Warm Bodies, which I know you like, and I have not seen that yet, though.
I need to rewatch that. It's been so long since I've watched that. I don't quite remember. I think she was like the best friend. She's basically the handmaiden type character in Warm Bodies. That's what would be. I don't know. She's like because Warm Bodies is a Romeo and Juliet story, and it takes it pretty. It has like the close characters too, and I want to say she's basically the equivalent to Juliet's handmaiden. I think would be
okay.
The way to put that. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've even done anything with Romeo and Juliet.
That's all right.
That story, but I love the adaptations of it. And weird like that. But so I loved her being in it. I love that she got to be on the big screen. She's done other things obviously, but more recently. And I also really liked the Raven. I liked him, and
yeah, that was Mustafa Shakir.
I loved his knives. Those
oh my goodness, yes.
And that actor, his eyes are really, really pretty. And I didn't No,
Kelly said the same thing as we were leaving out. We were talking about, the other movie, we always talk about our favorite parts, and then we always talk about, anything interesting. And she said that, yeah, his eyes, and she had wondered if his eyes were,
that's what I was wondering too. And I'm looking at his IMDb page, and it looks like those are just his eyes. Like they didn't do any editing for the character for that.
How interesting. So yeah, what's your score? What kind of score would you give it? Tell me your score.
I think I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10. Okay. Yep.
I definitely would rewatch it, and I would rewatch it in the theater. That was, it's a good movie. I like.
Would even rewatch it in the theater. Okay. Right on. There is something to be said about being on the big screen. And just because of, I would even say, even because of the fight sequences, how the fight sequences were done, to be able to see them, because one of the things I did not, I love spy movies and I love fight sequences, and I'm really particular about spy movie fight sequences. And the one thing I didn't like about the Bourne Identity movie at times was it was the whole shaky cam, and it was too shaky and you couldn't see what was going on. In this movie, you could see everything. In other words, the way it was filmed, the choreography for the fight sequences were really good, that you could actually see what was going on. So Angie popped out. So I guess you're going with me to see this, LOL. So it's I agree with you. It was worth seeing in the theater, and I really enjoyed it.
Action comedy is like the only way that I like action. Because
really,
if it's just a regular action film, that there's nothing else with it, I'm not interested in it at all. So the fact that it is a comedy makes it.
It was fun, yeah, and the comedy parts were pretty funny too. She said, plus there were parts where it was slow. I actually fell asleep at one point. Really? I didn't. And I saw it late. I caught the late show last night because I was helping Kelly with some stuff. And then we caught a late dinner and for Valentine's Day. And then we went to a nice little Thai restaurant that we like to go to. And then we made it to the movie just in time to skip the trailers to watch the movie, because it was snowing here last night. So we got a couple more inches and stuff. Oh, she's talking about the Bourne movies. Got it. That they were pretty slow. Yes, there were parts of it that were a little slow. I would concur. I find no fault with your reasoning. And all. But if anybody wants to know, I had some FBI friends at one point, and I was talking with them about this very topic, about fight sequences, and they said the most realistic fight sequence in a movie was the school hallway scene in the movie Grosse Point Blank. And it's an old movie with John Cusack. And it's also got Dan Aykroyd in it. It is one of my favorite action comedies of all time, and it's more on the action side than it is on the comedy side. There is some drama in it too, but that sequence is just a brutal up close fight sequence and stuff. So if you ever get a chance to see Grosse Point Blank, and if you like spy movies or assassin movies, that's a good one to watch. And so I would actually, because of the fight sequences in this movie, I would put this as part of probably one of my top 10 action comedies as well. So I really enjoyed it. Yes, I only gave it a 7 out of 10 because, it was short. I wanted more. Yeah, but it was so fast paced. Yeah, it was only like an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 20 if you don't count the credits.
I was really surprised at how short it was.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, okay. So everybody, we gave our ratings. So I gave it a 7 out of 10. Megan gave it a 8 out of 10. And we both said it was worth seeing in the theater. So if you get a chance to go see it, actually, go see it. So now we're going to move into spoilerific territory. So if you are, or if you're watching this and you haven't seen it, go watch the movie, and you can come back and listen to the rest of the show as we talk about spoilers in the movie. All right. So 3, 2, 1, let's talk spoilers. So, all right. First off, Megan, I thought she brought it up really nicely, was the whole aspect we did it out of boba teas. The villain is Daniel Wu, who's been in several movies. I thought he played a great villain, who plays the brother to Marvin as Marvin's brother, and that he molded Marvin into be a killing machine kind of a thing. And that's the life that Marvin was trying to escape from. And then also his love interest, Rose, you find out that he did not kill Rose because he loved her. And so that was kind of what was sparking that discussion. And so with that, I would say he, as his brother, played a really good villain. The one thing I did not like about the film, because I'm always about, it's an action comedy. There should be, it had some violent scenes in it. Just going to say there's some violent scenes. The one I did not like at all was Sean Astin dying. His character got killed.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
I liked it in the sense of, I think it was interesting and a cool concept, but I don't like that it happened to him.
Right. Yeah. Because he was such a brother figure is how they presented it in the film. A brother figure, a nice, smart, wise, taking care of someone under their wing kind of a thing. And I didn't like that they killed him off. And actually the way how the movie went, I think they should have just beat him up, and then it would have been better, because you didn't get, because of that relationship that they had, it didn't give an action comedy, which I think should have some happier endings. And you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or not. I think that was a little too far, if that makes sense, kind of a thing. I get what they were doing, but I think if you beat him up and he still lived, or that kind of a thing, I wish that was the case. But I didn't write the script, kind of thing. That was my only bad takeaway, that I was like, oh man, come on. That, now if it was a horror movie, okay, sure. If it was a spy movie, drama, action kind of a thing, okay. But because it was in the category of an action comedy kind of a framework, it made the movie darker than it, because you have a character who is a really, that brother figure, unless they were really trying to go for the thing. But even Marvin didn't seem to be, they didn't, he died, but they didn't really bring that back up a little bit, except for when the villain,
Knuckles,
I can't think of Daniel was the character now in that, Knuckles, I can't forget his name was Knuckles. He was wearing the hat that belonged, and then realized, kind of a thing of what happened. And then that kind of sparked him to be even more angry, and that vengeance come out of him, maybe kind of a thing. But that was one thing I did not like about the movie. And I couldn't talk about it before because, that's a spoiler kind of a thing. Anything you liked or disliked in the movie? Tell me give me your thoughts.
Oh, I really liked the little side love story between the Raven and Ashley. I thought that was I loved it.
Yes. Yes. When she started reading his poetry, because he was a poet. Yeah, I loved it. It was a killer poet. When she started reading, I was like, because I thought he was dead at the beginning. It's like, oh man, they made it look like he was dead. And in that, I
reading it. I
When
was
she
like,
started reading, I was like, why is she reading his poetry? And I thought for sure, oh, he's probably going to come right back up and wake up, kind of a thing. And sure enough, he did. I concur. That love story, that secondary love story was actually very clever. It was good.
I loved it. And I love both their characters. I thought they were great addition to it. I wouldn't mind a second if they were to ever continue. It was like a story focusing on those two. That would be cool.
That would be fun, actually. I concur. That would be good. Yes.
I would definitely watch that.
Yeah. Let's see. Real quick, Angie said, you had to see it coming, though. It's like Sean Bean. Fair enough. Sean Bean, in almost every movie he's in, gets killed off, kind of a thing. So it is kind of funny. Whether it be GoldenEye, when he played 006, James Bond in the James Bond series, he got killed off. Game of Thrones gets killed off at the end of the first season. Gosh, almost any show he's in, he's killed off, kind of a thing. I haven't seen it and knew he was going to die. LOL. Sean Astin was great. It was must be something with the name Sean, but Sean Astin doesn't get killed in everything he's in. But that's probably the one time I've probably seen him get killed. Like, no, Samwise Gamgee got killed. No, just kidding. For those who have not seen Lord of the Rings, and I know there's some out there that size, and that's okay. He played Samwise Gamgee, I thought was really just a great character, even in that film. And he did a great job with it as well. So, yeah. All right. Any other parts that you like really enjoyed or just curious about how it? Now, everybody, if you're joining us, I just want to give you a heads up. We are in spoilerific territory. I really appreciate you guys joining us. We are doing spoilers, talking about the movie Love Hurts. If we have given it, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Megan gave it an 8 out of 10. Mike is not with us because he is under the weather, and he'd be coughing the whole show, and that'd be miserable for him. So I am curious. Next week we'll probably get his rating for the show to see how he felt about it, and so we are in spoilerific territory. We enjoyed the movie, and the biggest compliment we give it is it worth seeing in the theater. Yes, it is worth seeing in the theater. Definitely is.
Absolutely.
All right. So Megan, anything else that you enjoyed about the movie, or any comments, funny anecdotes?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Everything.
So one of the funniest parts of the movie was Kippy. Kippy was the accountant. And so when Rose kidnaps Kippy and he's in the trunk, it's kind of funny. He's the accountant. The big plot thing is that he and the second-hand man who played Rennie, her name was Rennie, wanted to get Rose out of second place, the right-hand man, as it were, to Knuckles. And in order to do so, they stole $4 million from he cooked the books in order to have $4 million, and they put $2 million in her trunk to make it think like that she did it and show that she did it. So and she was like, I didn't do that. I've been loyal, blah, 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 blah. Well, Kippy was the accountant that cooked the books. And when she kidnapped him, she put duct tape on his mouth. But then when they ripped off the duct tape, he had 2 gold teeth and they stuck to the gold tape. So the whole rest of the movie, he's got his 2 buck teeth that are gone while he's talking. And you could tell in one scene that it was a prosthetic upper teeth thing. You could really tell, but it didn't matter because you realize they were doing it for the comedic effect. And it was every time he'd smile, his teeth would kind of stick out and the gums would stick out. And every time we would talk, it was just so absurd. It was funny, kind of a thing. And so I thought that was pretty it was pretty cool. On that. So Kippy was kind of I don't want to say he was comedic relief, but he was pretty funny, kind of a thing. And in that. So what else did I'm trying to think of what else I really enjoyed about the movie. Is what Kelly and I talk about on the way home. So, okay, what'd you like? What'd you not like? Kind of a thing. The Raven character, I did enjoy. I'm right there with you. I did enjoy the Raven character. He was so stoic, but yet he was a poet. He was a stoic poet.
I'm also a sucker for anything Raven-esque, so that shouldn't have been a shock for me.
Yeah, it was just neat. It was kind of cool how they were kind of enemies because Raven was sent there to get him. Mm-hmm. To find out where Rose was. Sorry, to get Marvin to find out where Rose was. And it was great when the two other thugs were shooting up the place, kind of a thing. And so the Raven and Marvin had to team up together to kind of defend themselves against these two. And what's funny is those two even lived at the end. They got cut up pretty bad, but even they were, and there was a funny story with them where one of them was trying to work things out with his girlfriend or wife. I can't remember. And the one was coaching him to help him, which was kind of funny. But even they lived. So why didn't Sean Astin live? I'm sorry. I'm traumatized over that. Dadgummit. So, hey, we're in spoilerific territory, everybody. If you're joining us, great to have you with us. Feel free to comment below. We like interacting with the comments and stuff like that. As we were talking about Kippy, Angie was like, all I want for Christmas are my 2 gold teeth. So Angie asked this question. So is it good enough to make a few spinoffs? Megan already mentioned earlier saying that she thought it'd be good to have Raven and Ashley. If Raven and Ashley, had that opportunity to do that. So yes, Angie, because it was Sean Astin. Yeah. Yes. Haha. Ha ha ha. I'm traumatized. It's too soon, Angie. Too soon. So it's been fun. I mean, it was a fun movie, and it was worth seeing in the theater. Plain and simple, it was worth seeing in the theater. It was a great movie. It's not a perfect movie, but it's a fun, fast-paced movie. And I would say, I don't know if there's any slow parts for me in that movie. It's just one thing right after another. I mean, once it got going, and we're talking about it started like in the first 5-10 minutes kind of a thing of the film.
It didn't have time to be slow. It's barely over an hour.
Right. It's about an hour and 20 once you take out the credits, kind of a thing. It is fast paced and stuff. Aha. This must be Mike. Mike is saying that it's 7.5. He gave it a 7.5.
He just wanted to have a score in between ours.
Right? So there's the average, everybody. 7.5 out of 10. Kind of a thing. Now, Angie asked this question. So you wouldn't Steven skip? No. There was not any one moment where I felt like, granted, I was watching it in the theater, but there wasn't any time in the thing I was like, okay, let's hurry this along. Not at all. So if I watch it on video, on demand, would I Steven skip it? No. In fact, I would probably Steven reverse it to watch some of the fight sequences again. Because they were clever fight sequences. Aha! Mike is pumping in. He's watching the show, everybody. And even he says, yes, Sean Astin should have lived. Yes, he should have lived. That was my one part I didn't like about it. And we are in spoilerific territory, everybody. I know we got a lot of folks joining us. So glad that you're here with us, everybody. we are in spoilerific territory on doing our review of the movie Love Hurts. So thanks for joining us. Our normally it's Mike and I, and but Mike's daughter is here with us, Megan. So glad you're here with us. Thank you. And so she's here because Mike is under the weather. See, this is what most folks tell us when Mike says, I want to see everyone's reaction to you, Steven, skipping in the theater, right? Right? Skip this. And moving along. Usually, if I skip, that's usually when I'm going to go get a popcorn refill or a soda refill. Actually, I don't drink soda anymore. So, Angie says, maybe someday there will be a movie where Sean lives. Maybe. It's called the director's cut, of where they will cut that scene out, where they'll just hit him and then he passes out and he's on the floor and they find him and yay, everybody's happy, everybody's together again and stuff. So, so that'd be me. Yes. I'm a nerd with that because I would love to. That was my only one thing about the movie. Kind of a thing. All right. So, any other acts for you that you thought were interesting or were needed to be redone? Didn't like?
I can't. No, I think the only thing I have grievances was with Sean dying.
Yeah, so. Sean Astin's character. Cliff was his name. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't think he can survive a bullet direct to the head. Oh, speaking of which, yes. So there was another realtor in the show that some of you may have recognized. It was Drew Scott from the was it Property Brothers? He has a twin. Drew Scott was the one who Drew and Jonathan Scott. I think he was there who's a black belt in karate. That was kind of his gimmick and stuff. And then he came over to help and thought it was really good. I mean, was in there, and then all of a sudden he jumps up, and then they shoot him in the head, and you see kind of through the hole in his head, you see the other two people, kind of a thing. So yeah. I bet it wasn't as bad as the Demogorgon in Stranger Things. Yeah, agreed. Yes, that's who it was. Yeah. Not Jonathan Scott, but Drew Scott was playing. I think Jonathan Scott, wasn't he the one that married, no, or was he the one is he dating or, yeah, Zooey Deschanel. So those who have seen, what show she was on? It was New Girl. New Girl was the show that I first saw her on, but she was in Elf too. Elf also, excuse me. So that's the other brother, but Drew is the one who was in this one. The Property Brothers. So I thought that was pretty cool that he was in there and all that. So Angie says they're married. I'm like, okay. Yep. She also confirmed Sue Girl. Mike is chiming in. He said it's a lot of fun. Yes, it was a fun movie. Definitely a fun movie. Wholesome is violence. You can't quite say it was wholesome. I think on a violent scale, if we had to put it on a violent scale, you're using our boba teas that we used for our scale. It's a 10 out of 10 on the violence level, because you see through Drew Scott's head, kind of a thing. You see the cutting and stuff like that. There's blood splatters, people getting shot. A missing finger is in there. What else did we have? There was a straw to the eyeball. It's too soon. Too soon. Sean Astin gets it in the eyeball. Kind of a thing. I was so sad. And all. I mean, oh yeah. Is it wholesome as Deadpool? Right? That's a good one. As Deadpool says, every love story starts with blood. Yes, very much so. All right. Well, everybody, if you have any other comments or anything, get those in. We're going to start wrapping up the show because we're getting right towards the end. And so, again, we are in spoilerific territory here, just talking about giving our thoughts, our spoiler side of the movie Love Hurts. Is it worth watching in the theater? Yes, it is worth watching in the theater, and really appreciate that. That review and all. Angie says, good show, y'all. Thank you, Angie. Glad you're joining us and commenting. Thanks for being a part of it and stuff. So, well, everybody, if you have not checked out our website, please check out our website at www.twogeeksmic.com. That's the number 2 GEEKSMIC.com. That's our hub for all things. You can get to our merch page. You can get to our Ko-fi page. You can get to our Facebook page, all there from our website. But if you do want to check out our merch, that is www.twogeeksmicmerch.com, where we've got some fun t-shirts and things like that. And then also, if you want to support us, we've got a $1 tier, a $2 tier, a $3 tier. It's ko-fi.com/2geeks, ko-fi.com. Just renewed that for another year last week. And so that's our hub. If you want to help support us, evidently those are going to Mike's doctor bills this week, just so you know, since he is under the weather. And so we appreciate your support. It does help us we use Podbean for our podcast. We use YouTube for that. So, and also we use EVMux for our streaming. And so that's where the money goes to, is to allow us to do that. Now, some of the ways, if you want to support us in a different way, is if you have not tried out Audible. I am this week, I'm going to be listening to Batman Resurrection to prepare for our John Jackson Miller interview that we're going to do next Sunday. Pretty excited about that. And so if you've never tried Audible, if you're like, man, I don't have time to read, but I do have windshield time, maybe in the car. And so you want to listen to an audiobook. Audible has all kinds of books in every possible category. And you can try a free Audible book by going to audibletrial.com/2geeks, all spelled out TWOGEEKS, and get your 1 month for free. And then from after that, if you want to continue, you can cancel at any time, $14.95 a month. And not only that, in the subscription, that gets you 1 Audible credit, which equals 1 book. Now, that book could be a 5-hour book. It could be a 45-hour book. It's crazy. And that Audible credit will apply. But you also get part of the Audible catalog. And there's a ton, thousands of free audiobooks that are part of the subscription. And when I say free, they don't cost a credit. They're all part of your subscription. And so, which is pretty cool. So, love it. Mysteries, sci-fi, fantasy, self-improvement, self-help, thrillers, fiction, nonfiction, just you name it, it's all in there. And so it's pretty cool. So if you want to try that, audibletrial.com/2geeks, TWOGEEKS, and get a free Audible book if you've never tried it before. All right. Anything else that you want to, that we need to chit chat book? Oh, by the way, Mike wanted me to remind everybody, the Immortality Code, his book, the audiobook, is coming soon. He is working on getting that on Audible, of all things, which is pretty cool. So he's been working hard on that. And Geek Girl says Audible is awesome. Woot woot. And she also says they have everything. And And she said, again, the way things are going, it's cheaper than groceries. That is so true. Kind of a thing. Also, make sure to like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. It does help us on the show and just get the word out. We just have a good time. And really, the big thing is we really enjoy interacting with everybody. So we have folks from all over the world that join us from time to time, and it's always fun to talk with those folks. And you can hear in. So if you're joining us, make sure that you comment as well. We do go live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time because I'm in Montana. Mike is in the St. Louis area. And so that's Central Standard Time. If it is Eastern Standard Time, that is 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm doing the math because I know Mike that's how he does it and stuff. So any other comments or anything, Megan, that you'd like to share?
Dad asked, do you consider it a good Valentine's movie?
For me, yes. I thought it was great. Kelly and I enjoyed it together.
It takes place on Valentine's Day, so
yeah, it does.
A Valentine's movie.
Yeah, that is. Also, great job, Megan. Thank you, Pumpkin. That's funny. That's from Mike. So, and I appreciate that. So, all right. Anything else?
Nope.
Is that it? All right, everybody. Well, just make sure you don't skip our episodes because we are much more better than the rest. And I hope, cheers.
Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
May the force be with you.